I know what you were, what you are. People don't change. You're Slippin' Jimmy. And Slippin' Jimmy I can handle just fine, but Slippin' Jimmy with a law degree is like a chimp with a machine gun.
Hello and welcome to the first official Cinecast. So first off, we need to get something straight here. We do not have all the hosts with us today. You see our host Gumby and Scrimp. They were shot down. Their plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors. Anyways, we watched Bullet Train. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, to introduce myself, I am otherwise known in the podcast as the Dragon, or Dragon for short.
And for those Patreon viewers, by the way, the $25 tier, if you want to know, we have episode 0, where we talk about great topics such as women's rights, child labor, and Glizzy Review.
I'm Fornam.
Alright, so Bullet Train, what did we think?
I like to start off. See, Bullet Train is a movie that tries a lot of things. It executes some stuff pretty good, but overall, I'll say it's a fine movie. I will give it like a 6 out of 10.
A 6.
I feel inclined to say it was a little bit more than mid.
I did not say that. Okay.
I don't know, 6 out of 10, that's a little more than mid. 5 is mid.
Yeah.
If you want to put it on a true 1 to 10 scale.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of the humor was kind of like Marvel tier humor. And also, it kind of tried to pull off a Yakuza plot, where it starts out separate and they intertwine, but it felt like kind of unnatural. Like, they had to go out of their way to reveal important plot points, and I don't know how well it actually changes the subtext.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Excellent points from Dragon and Ratburn. I'd like to bring attention the sort of comedic factor of the motion picture. You see that sort of action-based irony, the almost fun making of self-improvement gurus that you would often find on social media platforms such as the TikTok or the Instagram.
Fine establishments, I'll say.
Yes. No shade to said social media platforms.
I think we need more people to balance out the dynamic here.
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe we just need to start harassing people in the podcast.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Is that it?
What?
Oh, that's some of the ops. Let's go harass them.
Whoa, somebody else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
Honestly, I think we could take them.
Hey, buddy! You like having a job?
Alright, I think that went pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's only running. And that's a step up from the crying.
Alrighty. Alright, so Bullet Train.
Yeah.
So what would you two rate it, Mr. Rapburn and Senior J Money?
I don't have a rating, but I will say if I were in my sophomore year of high school, I'd probably say I really loved the movie and then would never watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like the people that watch the current Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, I figured like a lot of the choreography probably, like I was hoping since the whole thing takes place like on a crowded train, they'd focus a lot more on the actual like hand-to-hand combat, kind of like along the lines of the movie The Raid. You know, really focus in on like the actual close quarters fighting, which they didn't really do too much. There's a lot of just guns and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And shenanigans. Yeah.
A lot of shenanigans.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would say though that the film did some really good shots with the camera.
Yeah.
So like there's a scene where like with no spoilers because we're not trying to spoil our audience here.
Yeah.
Where the camera follows a water bottle around, and the water bottle is rolling and being thrown. It was very interesting to see it because it's clearly like they probably used some CGI, but it was shot really well.
That was one thing that I thought had to be kind of difficult to write too, because like they had to basically find a way to make each character, like the reason for why they're in that situation, all connected somehow. I feel like it was done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Although one thing I can say is it's really funny how similar this movie's core message, it seems, was to part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, I would
The
agree.
antagonist trying to escape fate for his own advantage. The main character's associated with a ladybug.
Yeah,
Oh.
maybe they like took some inspiration there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said there's an Akira reference. I didn't catch it.
I did not
I haven't
catch
watched
that.
all of Akira.
I did not catch
That was in reference to the motion picture Nope.
Oh,
Okay, I
okay.
thought it was for Bullet Train.
No.
Okay.
It would make sense. It's like the one thing, like the one like Japanese thing every media references. Like,
Yeah.
I think even Kanye West referenced media, or
Well,
even took shots from it and put it in a music video or something.
Yeah, because like Akira came out at the time when like anime was coming out in the West.
It's kind of like Dragon Ball, where it's really popular over here.
Yeah,
And
like
has been for long enough to kind of ingrain itself into the pop culture.
yeah, basically like when in a time where VCRs were the dominant thing, you know, you get like all these Akira VCRs and like the blockbusters, Hollywood videos, all that, and people would like get them because you know it's something new they never seen, and that's why like a lot of older people. So like apparently in the movie Nope, they reference Akira, so maybe he saw it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about characters, Ratburn. What would you say,
Characters.
like, the characters in this movie? How were they?
I kind of like the main guy. I agree with what Jay Money over here was saying earlier about how it's almost like a parody of a self-help guru. Even though it was pretty stupid, I did like the line. It was like, oh no, I'm mansplaining, while another character's sitting there dying and vomiting on her own blood.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like sitting here worried about this.
And that's almost a philosophical point to draw us back to the sort of exaggerated state of our current political climate in America, where people are hyper-focused and hypersensitive. Is it based or is it woke?
Is it cringe? You may never know. It's
Well,
all
We may
about...
never know.
That's why we're having this podcast right now, to tell you if it's
Exactly.
cringe or not.
Yeah.
Frick.
Is the movie cringe? Not really.
No, I wouldn't say it's cringe. It's a pretty
But was
good...
it based?
No,
Mm.
I would
I
say.
don't think so.
I would say no.
It's riding a fine line. And let me just say about the humor one more time. It brings me back to almost the Hitman's Bodyguard and or the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
I never watched that, but the title alone kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I think, portrays...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Imagine this, okay? Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, okay? Hitman Bodyguard, which one is which? Criminal organization? Grease?
I don't think Grease was involved
Does
in
that
Bullet
ring a
Train.
bell? Does that ring a bell at all?
No, not really. I just remember seeing the posters back at ye old place of business. See, we work for a movie studio. Which is why we call it Cinecast.
Cinema
Cinema.
cast.
Not
Keep
Cinecast.
No, it is Cinecast, but the Cine is in reference to the word cinema.
Yeah, the Latin root word being cimentos, meaning way of portraying some sort of story through images.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like we're having some sort of crisis here in the room, but we're going to ignore that for now because you can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. So, with Bullet Train, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought about the movie was, I thought the first act was pretty weak. I was surprised. Although it was getting all the setup and stuff, like, I felt like they were trying to do too much to characterize everyone.
In the theater, we were talking about that Mexico bit, which was kind of funny.
1 minute. Jay Money's.
It's ridiculous. We can cut it out, though.
Hmm.
Whatever, we'll continue.
We shall continue.
Anyways, I thought it was kind of funny how it was so desperate to make sure you know he's from Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just weird how little they utilize that character for showing the backstory. I guess it's part of the idea of, like, it being kind of a big circle where each character is unknowingly connected to each other in some way.
Yeah, I think without spoiling anything, that character that they made sure that you fully knew his backstory. Like, yes, he is in this country, he is doing this, he is this type of person. Didn't have that big of an influence.
Yeah,
but
it's weird too because two of the characters who were there throughout the entire movie got essentially none of that at all.
Right. There's there seems to be a problem.
He wants to put me on hold.
He put you on hold.
He put me on hold.
Like,
Also,
right.
my wireless headphones fell.
Oh, sick.
We got a problem in the room here.
Okay. 1 minute, please.
All right.
And let us continue with the podcast. I'm still on the phone, but I'm on hold.
Right.
With who? Who's the special phone guest?
Oh. Yeah.
The big guys?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, folks, we can't talk about this. This is super, undercover.
Clandestine.
Yeah, we gotta keep this a little hush-hush if you know what I'm saying.
But when they do pick back up, J Money will have to step aside once more.
Right.
He's got business to conduct, and business never truly stops.
Yeah.
You know what else never truly stops?
The grind.
The bullet train in Bullet Train.
Ooh.
Yeah. Except the multiple times it stops at the stations, but...
Yeah,
But we'll ignore that
I was going to ask, is that cinematically accurate, Rapper? But, of course.
In a way, isn't the bullet train just a metaphor for how our lives constantly have us perpetually hurtling forward into the unknown?
Yeah, it's pretty thematically scary when you think about it like that, and it's scary for the characters as well.
Almost a philosophical message to the evanescent beam of light we constantly pursue, but possibly and likely will never attain simply because you pursue a dream that doesn't exist. The light, it's fading.
Of course. This reminds me of the philosopher's teachings of Friedrich Nietzsche.
You know they're gonna start printing Rooster Fighter?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tweet about it today.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I saw.
I never actually got around to reading it.
Yeah, I saw a cover of Rooster Fighter and just the panels of it, super detailed.
Yeah, no kizzy.
Yeah, no kizzy.
Yeah.
No idea whenever an anime pardon. Whenever an anime topic and or conversation appears on the podcast, just know J Money has absolutely no idea what is being discussed.
I think that will help us connect with the audience more. Not everyone's going to be quite in tune with the Twitter sphere. Which, side note, anyone who likes anime on Twitter is genuinely fucking brain dead. They recycle the same tweets over and over. They'll literally copy and paste tweets. It's really stupid.
Little controversial take from Rapper today.
Strong statement there.
You know another statement? If you ever see someone's top 10 anime or manga, and JoJo's isn't on there, or Berserk for manga, then you know they haven't read it yet.
Ooh. Some may say that
They have.
your assertions are shoddy.
Not for
at
Berserk.
best.
JoJo's maybe, some people might just not like it, but for Berserk, it's not my favorite manga, but I think it's objectively the best.
They might say that everything is subjective. What would you say to those people?
You can kiss my ass.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
All right then.
Some
Anyways, what's your goal with this unknown caller?
Let's just say there's a job that involves money.
All right, gentlemen, the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
podcast.
Our next
God, I'm
topic.
gonna have to cut a lot out.
So, any topics from?
What movie did we watch again?
No.
What movie did we watch again?
I think the bullet train conversation has been sufficiently.
I
Sufficiently
might want to make
discussed.
another point though. It kind of
okay.
felt like in the writer's room there. It said it was based off a book. Maybe it's just due to the adaptation, and there could be a lot more missing. Felt like
I'd
they
say
just
so.
threw a bunch of components into a bucket and then tried to make them connect. Like, it never seemed like there was any real, I don't know, it's just weird how they revealed it, and it kind of seemed like there's no good reason for it to be connected, or that there are just too many things. Like, if it was two, like, main simultaneous plot lines that do at the end sort of join together, then I feel like that would have been easier for a 2-hour movie. But when you have, like, 3 different, like, points that then merge, then it gets a little bit messy.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened.
You think like they were trying to attempt more than they can actually more capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something where it's like there's another thing that's like this movie. It's an anime called Bakuno. It does a train plot as well, but with characters that are like, you know, way better than in Bullet Train, more characterized. Yeah.
And I almost feel like there's a missed opportunity here because the movie takes place in Japan. That's like the whole premise.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they wasted a little bit of potential because the shots of like the streets in Japan looked really good.
Yeah.
But then inside like the train car, it was all just very much like the same.
Yeah, that's something I was a little disappointed of. I was hoping there'd be a little more adventure outside of the bullet train.
I mean,
I
like,
would-
especially I think for me and Dragon over here, especially because we play a little game series called Yakuza,
Yes. We
and
do.
a lot of that movie felt straight out of Yakuza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is Yakuza, by the way? Give me some details. How is the story mode?
So there's 2 sides to it. There's the really goofy, weird side, and then there's the melodramatic plot point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times it's due to like antics in the actual Yakuza organizations themselves. I'll use Yakuza 0 as a basis. You should start with that game, I think.
Yes, you should.
And it does the thing where there's 2 different separate plots. You play as a different character each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And they have these basically completely separate plots that at a certain point towards the end, you realize that they're a lot more connected than you think.
Mm-hmm.
And it merges really well together.
Plus, it has like some time where it's like, where like movies they have like a set time, either like 2 to 4 hours typically. But in like games, you have like the amount of time like you would can possibly want, which it utilizes pretty well.
Yeah, my first playthrough is like 60 hours long. And like, because it's really easy. There's the side stuff too, which is really goofy, but it's a nice breather from the more dramatic stuff. And because it's all optional, so for me, like the first couple chapters, I straight up spent like an hour on each. But then towards the end, I was a little tired and just kind of wanted to get to the end of the plot because I kept forgetting what was happening by spending too much time outside of it once it gets deeper into the plot.
And there is a lot of side content too. They're all great, but at the same time, it's like when you start forgetting stuff, you want to make sure you finish in time so you understand.
There's little recaps, but it's still better to sort of see it as one fluid story.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have like side stuff in Yakuza 0. In all the games, the karaoke is a big part of it. It's a rhythm game, and it has good songs that are basically sung in-game by the voice actors of the characters you play.
And some of these voice actors are like actually professional singers.
Yeah, and they're like actual original songs written for the games, and they're good.
I see what you're saying.
There's other things. There's a dancing mini game that's also sort of a rhythm game. One of the other functions of it too are sub-stories, which are like side quests, but they're very simple and normally comedic. So like one of them is you find a dominatrix who isn't assertive enough to please her pay pig.
Yes.
So you take her to a local park to teach her how to be more assertive because you're like a Yakuza member. It's really tough on people. And then she ends up practicing her dominatrix skills but in front of some kids on the main character.
Which is you.
Which is a very like reserved character, but he often finds himself in these weird like situations.
Yes, yes.
Oh my.
Yes. And
There's also a part of the game where you just watch porn. And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make a little hot take right now. I'm gonna say the probably the best campaign story in video game history, Red Dead Redemption 2.
I feel like Yakuza reaches Red Dead levels. I don't think I'm far enough into the series to quite know how much it is, but I feel like if they really wanted to put all of the knowledge from those games and the side games together, it would be equatable, if not better.
Red Dead 2 story is great for sure.
I do know it's great because I haven't played the game. I saw the game, though, from just being in the same room as my brother who would play it. And I often found myself, like, after a while and, like, overhearing it, I would stop doing what I was doing and just start watching the plot, like a movie.
Oh, my brother.
Because it was
in
so,
Christ.
like...
My brother in Christ. Oh, my
I
goodness.
plan to play it. It's just hard because that opening
That
is such
opening
a
is very
slog
slow,
to get through.
Very slow.
I've already played through it, like, twice.
I will
so.
say, though, I do love that opening in Red Dead 2. So the opening, if for the audience doesn't know, you start off in like a snowstorm and you're with your gang and you're trying to survive it because you're low on food. You're in a very bad spot. But the prologue is similar to many Western movies. It's inspiration from like Sergio Leone, like Once Upon a Time in the West. So your gang goes up to like these renegades in a cabin and they shoots them down, similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And the slow build up is similar to those movies in order to like get you fully invested in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're done with that build up, then it opens up the world and you just want to keep going, want to keep playing through it. So I think the build up helps establishing like where the gang's at, who likes who, what the conflicts are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you'll grow a very emotional attachment to specific characters in the game as you go. And what I love about this is that they don't shy away from killing off characters, and they don't shy away from sort of the conflicts within the gang. And they have a rival gang called the O'Driscolls, and when you spin the block on them, you start to feel the satisfaction of just killing the people that kill you around, and your gang begins to become your own, and it's almost as though you're in a Western in real life. 1 minute.
He's
please.
getting emotional.
Anyway,
guys.
so I hogtied a guy and threw him on the train tracks.
No, dude, it's actually so fun if you keep playing like just the missions, because one thing like I caught myself doing too much was like when I hit like a difficult mission or kind of a slow time where it's like, oh, I really don't want to do this mission, because it organizes the missions by people. So you'll see like so and so from the gang wants to talk to you. You'll go there, and like a lot of times it's like these specific people you don't like doing missions with. So like you'll kind of put that off, and then like while you're putting that off, like you'll go into town, you'll kill some people, you'll go to the bar, start a couple fights, you'll go hunting, and then 2 days later you realize, holy shit, I haven't even played another mission.
That's kind of how Yakuza feels sometimes.
For me, with Red Dead 2, like speaking on J Money's point right there, I found like those missions, like I didn't really have a problem with them personally, because like I was focusing more on the story and the character work, and I would see like those missions, those like not necessarily menial, but like important to like getting money for the gang. So one of the examples I can use is your main character goes on this quest with Lenny to go to a bar and like poach out scouts, basically. And instead, what ends up happening, because they're trying to convince this guy to like give him money or a job, they drink tons and tons of alcohol. But then the mission just turns into you and Lenny and the whole bar just like having a good time, and it helps when those serious moments in the story kick in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you'll begin to like develop anger towards other gang members, and I won't say specifically who, just because spoilers are a mother fricker. But you're gonna find yourself wanting to punch your screen at times.
I agree.
Indeed. And so Rapper, and I really encourage you. And what I love about this,
I definitely plan on playing both Red Dead games. Maybe a little Undead Nightmare too.
play Red
Undead
Dead 2
Nightmare
first.
is great.
Red Dead 2 first.
Yeah, I know, it's like a prequel.
Yeah, no kizzy.
Well, it might be one of those things where it's like you might want to play the first one first, because like the first one is like from the PS3 era.
See, for me though, because like here's my sort of gaming history.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up playing basically Pokemon. exclusively, other than like when I had a PS2 and Kingdom Hearts for a little bit, and then that tragically broke. So it's just Pokemon. I think the first time I actually like played a game and like actually got invested in a game that wasn't just Pokemon or like Minecraft was in the year of our Lord 2018.
Holy.
Yeah, I was behind, so I played a shit ton of games from like the PS3 era, like 2008 especially. My favorite game of all time, Fallout New Vegas. You know, I like a lot of BioShock. I have problems with BioShock, but still good game, 2008. So I have a lot of experience playing these older games. No.
Going back to the main point of this whole conversation, we were comparing Yakuza and Red Dead 2. Now, I agree with J Money. Red Dead 2, great game. Everyone should play it. Great story, great characters, and all that. However, this is hard because they're both great games. But
yeah, this is actually like a cool dynamic we have, though. We got J Money here who hasn't played a Yakuza or Red Dead 2. Me who's played Yakuza, but not Red Dead 2. And then you as like the mediator who's played both.
Yes. Now, J Money makes some great points. Great story, great characters. So, some great characters I can mention from RDR2. Arthur, Dutch, John, etc. But I feel like with Yakuza, everybody in that main story has like a purpose, their own goals, and they are all connected to be important within like the big plot of the story. As Rapburn here was saying, he played 2 different characters. It's bigger than you imagine, and when you start wanting to question like what everything is happening, because it's a mystery game, you're questioning what everything's happening, and you're like, how are they going to tie this up? There's going to be some loose ends. There isn't.
Yeah, and another part is it's interesting what they do, because Yakuza 0 is where I started, but it is a prequel to the first game, which is why it's called 0. Basically takes essentially what is a comic relief character and fleshes him out and gives him a real backstory and character and explains how he got to the point to where he was in the first game.
Yes, it's something to see. I can agree.
Yeah. It's also interesting because a lot of I don't know, maybe it's just because a lot of anime tends to be shonen, which is more directed towards adolescents. It's interesting because the main character, at least in Yakuza 1 and onwards, is a middle-aged man. It's like 40.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because normally in a lot of stuff, you know, like a lot of the animes, the main characters tend to range from like 17 to like 21. Very young.
Youngsters,
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one thing I want to talk about, which is in some ways almost the opposite of Red Dead. Doom. You see Dragon here. He's talked about starting Doom Eternal.
Yes, I have started
a game I know very well.
I have started it. I am on the 2nd mission right now.
I too have played. I've played a portion of Doom Eternal. It's on my PlayStation. It's a difficult game.
What difficulty are you playing it on?
The worst. I ain't no snitch. I ain't no bitch.
Nightmare? Okay. Yeah, I beat it on that one.
I haven't played it. I haven't played it in damn near like a year, to be honest.
But honestly, I say started on Ultraviolence, the one right below it.
Now,
no, because like what I did was when I first played Doom 2016 before Eternal came out. I basically went through a certain point on normal difficulty, got stuck on a level, stopped playing it, and then just for shits and giggles, I restarted the game on a harder difficulty and then breezed through it.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Probably because you're so used to it at that point.
At one point I attempted to beat it on Ultra Nightmare, but that's like a whole fucking like day you have to put aside.
Yeah.
Even that, because like you can't even save it and come back later. You have to beat the game beginning to end in one sitting.
Oh god.
And you're not allowed to die, and it's on Nightmare mode, and I'm pretty sure it's slightly harder on Ultra Nightmare than normal Nightmare.
That just sounds more stressful than
Like,
fun
I
at that
genuinely
point.
don't think I've ever gotten past the first level yet.
Damn.
That's just because I come back to it occasionally, so I'm not, like, in the Doom groove, I guess.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a question for you, Redburn. Since you've played both games, and I'm just starting. Would you say Eternal is better than 2016?
Ooh. I really like the feel of 2016. I think they're just as good, but mechanically, Doom Eternal is just objectively better
Right.
because you have so many more, like, ways of movement, and they really turn it into, like, they go from 2016, which is more like a grounded sci-fi thing, and then Doom Eternal almost turns it into, like, a borderline arcade shooter. Where you have, like, power-ups everywhere, all the ammo's different colors. But I feel like all the mechanics are really fleshed out and fun. I really like how they gave a lot of unique weaknesses to a lot of the demons, like the cacodemons, the giant red ball ones.
Yeah.
If you throw a grenade in their mouth, it immediately triggers the glory kill. And the pinkies, I never see this, so the pinkies are basically like the pink ones that are in the original Doom, which I played too. That's honestly holds up. I think it's one of the best games of all time, the original Doom.
Right.
But anytime I see footage of people fighting them, they always, like, fuck around. Blood punch. You just blood punch, and it fucking insta-kills them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, they say Doom Eternal fixes, and it does. It fixes an issue with the first one, where it's really easy. Once you get the super shotgun,
Oh,
to just
yes.
run through the game with it.
Yeah, you blitz through the
I
enemies.
still mainly used that gun, but also, like, because each demon has a weakness, there's always an incentive to constantly be switching weapons.
Well, it's just like a convenient thing that, like, the developers didn't maybe put a lot of time in. I'm not sure, but it's just
I think
like one
the
of those.
problem was they tried to make Doom 2016 too much like the original Doom, where you just put damage into an enemy until it dies, where Doom Eternal forces you to be a lot more tactical about every decision.
Okay.
So, like, you have the giant, like, robo brain scorpion things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with that, you're pretty much either going to use the shotgun sticky bombs or the scoped power shot
Right.
to take out their, like, main, like, their tail, which is their main form of attack. So, like, each one has, like, a different weakness, so you want to constantly switch.
Right.
But I was just reminded of something. The Marauder. Something little bitches complained about. Little bitches complained about, saying, oh, it's too hard. It's not. The one thing I can say that they have a point about is it does genuinely break the pace of the game. Like, you tend to go, like, move around constantly in the game, but this, it sort of forces you to fight something that's equal strength to you, and it requires timing. But let me tell you, there at one point in the game is, like, the secret challenge thing. I've 100% of the game, so I had to do it, where you have to kill 2 Marauders, I think, in, like, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I did it on Nightmare. It was fine. You just have to pay attention. It's, like, the absolute, like, end all of the whole having to play it tactically and be smart.
Okay, I see now.
Also, grappling hook is fun.
So you're talking about you thought 2016 has a better feel. Would you say 2016?
I don't think it has a better feel. I just think it's got a unique feel that I like a lot.
So would you say you would prefer the atmosphere of 2016 over Eternal?
I don't know. So, like, the one thing I really appreciate, like, I really like
to put it
all
like,
the set pieces.
To describe
in
it
Eternal.
to describe it to the audience, 2016 feels like something out of like a Lovecraftian horror, where it's like unexplained stuff, like things
And
out
all
of
of it
control.
is on Mars. It's all in kind of one main location. The Eternal, you're all over the place. At one point, you go to heaven and fight God, essentially.
That one, Eternal is more sci-fi and fantasy based, where you go to different planets.
Like, it gets really crazy with it.
Yeah,
but I think it's fun.
I think so far
I like the tone to it.
So far, it balances the 3 things of fantasy, sci-fi and grimdark pretty good.
Yeah, I guess both of them are just for different moods. One of them's a lot more grounded and like,
Which is good to vary it up like that.
yeah. But then the next one's when it gets all wacky and wild and you start fighting gods and like, doing all the wacky shit.
Right.
Hmm.
So, J Money,
Mm-hmm.
if we're done with the Doom topic, what game would you recommend to the audience besides Red Dead 2?
Castle Crashers.
I played a little bit of
I
that back in
agree.
the day on the Xbox 360.
That is a great game.
Precisely.
Good pick.
No kizzy. I was always
Kizzy.
the ass.
Yeah.
The Ice Knight.
It's a little chilly in here, folks.
Yeah. Disco Elysium is another good game.
I have that, but I haven't played it
Yeah.
yet.
Honestly, it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier. Like when playing Yakuza, you would like be sitting there getting ready for work, watching the end of a cutscene.
Yeah.
That's essentially how I was with this game. Like spending literally almost all my time on it. It's sort of like an RPG, but the most mundane RPG in the world, where your tools consist of like a plastic bag, gloves, maybe like a bolt cutter.
Mm-hmm.
But the main gameplay is through like the dialogue systems,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool because every little piece of information you find about something adds up. And it's kind of has like the Fallout 3 type speech check thing where it has a dice roll and your chances are impacted by basically your build and your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But the best part about it is other conversations you have and the more information you learn about like a character you want to talk to or persuade for something, all of that adds up and it tells you when it adds up. Like even the smallest things. But it's also really goofy. There's a part where you can do a speech check on a crate so that it opens for you. And another part where you just convince yourself to teleport on top of a building. But then after you freak out about it, your partner reveals that you just climbed up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You're basically a detective with amnesia and you try to figure out who you are. And you have your partner, Kim Kitsuragi, who kind of just assists you with everything.
Okay. Yeah, I heard it was a very detailed game where your choices actually matter, which I appreciate.
It's also got like a huge on world building. Like they apply real life economic and political systems like communism, capitalism, socialism
Oh, frick yeah.
onto the world. But because it's fictional, it doesn't have the same context as the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like still the same systems, but through the other context.
Of someone trying to make one.
It's also really vague. It's almost like in a 1984 type of world.
Okay.
And the year, they don't even tell you what century it is. It's just the 70s or something.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of world building to learn. You just hang out in like the boonies, a seaside town. It's got a really great soundtrack too. It was done by the band Sea Power. I think is an underrated band. They got good music.
Okay.
A musician and or band that I was referred to by a coworker who shall remain nameless. Binary Star.
Ah, yeah, I
Heard of
know
them?
this.
You
Yes.
know? So you've got a complicated sort of lyrical, you love triangle going on in that song that I didn't catch for like the first 10 listens.
I heard the word spaghetti.
Spaghetti was indeed in
It
there.
was indeed.
Yeah.
Now, allow me to break down the by the way, the song Glenn Close featuring 1B Low by Binary Star. Now, see what you've got here is a man, okay? He goes to a party. Now, he scopes this body, in his words, some model lady, right? And her name was Patricia. He calls her Patty, right?
Yeah.
And then they ended up fornicating and having a child. Okay. Now,
In that order?
precisely, yes.
Alright.
Now, the singer, okay, later continues
Check
a
this
relationship with said
Checking on
Patricia.
the kids.
Oh shit. Fuck, get down. Get down.
It's 12, bro. Damn.
No, I'm not going down.
No.
No.
Oh. But no, so basically what you've got here, right, now, he continues this relationship with Patty,
Mm-hmm.
but he also has another lady. Her name is Heather. Okay, now he tells Patricia, his baby's mother, about Heather. And then Patricia acts all nonchalant, like, what up, and all that. And then Heather is just, she's Heather. And then...
Just going about her business.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then Patty keeps acting all wild and such, and then starts, getting this phone number.
No, you gotta look at the whole thing, alright? I'll show you the whole thing. Who's this? This is basically, I sent it originally. This is how my friend responded. So not only did I send him the image again. Oh, wrong way. Oh, hold on. I made it my profile picture, posted the picture on my story and on the thing, and then also posted the conversation.
God,
Fuck
dude.
Just
you.
purely out of spite.
Fuck
Oh,
you
yeah, here, I'll
and your
read it.
stupid ass cats. It
He
says.
said, I'll fucking kill it, and fuck you. Just fuck you. Fuck you, Julian. Fuck you and your stupid ass cats.
We're gonna have to
haters
cut that
gonna
out.
hate and added them.
We're gonna have to cut out that name.
Yeah, that little name drop he just did. It was actually a rapper.
I don't
Fuck
think we
you.
can leave any of this in. They're not gonna know what the fuck we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
What picture? What cats?
We'll just leave the fuck you and your cats statement. That's it. It's just like abrupt
It's just
cut.
gonna cut out, fuck you and your cats. And
Yeah,
then-
and
I
then
was just saying that to people.
God, dude. It's gonna be so funny, bro. Oh my goodness.
You're discussing the song.
Oh fuck yeah. But basically it's just gonna go from me describing the song to fuck you and your cats.
Yes.
And then it's just gonna go back to the fucking song.
Should make that the intro right there.
Fuck you and your cats.